Jimmy Kimmel has officially returned to ABC after his highly publicized suspension, and his emotional comeback has quickly become one of the most talked about moments in late-night television history. When he stepped back onto that stage, the atmosphere was electric. The audience rose to their feet, chanting his name, Jimmy, 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 in a thunderous ovation that lasted nearly 2 minutes. You could see the emotion on his face. This wasn't just a talk show comeback. This was a fight for his career, his reputation, and, as he put it, his right to speak freely. His first words back were sharp, simple, and defiant. As I was saying before I was interrupted. The crowd roared. But let's rewind for a moment. The reason Kimmel was even off the air in the first place dates back to September 15th, when he made remarks about the shocking murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. His comments, many felt, were insensitive and badly timed. Critics accused him of mocking the death itself, while supporters insisted he was actually condemning the toxic environment that fueled such violence. The reaction was swift and brutal. Political commentators, activist groups, and even members of Congress blasted Kimmel. ABC, feeling the heat, suspended his show on September 17th, pulling it from the air for what would become 6 long days of uncertainty. Behind closed doors, Disney executives debated what to do. Should they fire him? Should they demand an on-air apology? Or should they stand by their star host, a man who had built ABC's late-night identity for over 2 decades? Adding to the chaos, major broadcasting groups like Sinclair and Nexstar, which own dozens of ABC affiliate stations across the country, flat out refused to air his program unless he apologized directly to Kirk's family or made a charitable donation. This meant that even if Disney brought Kimmel back, in many markets across America, his show simply wouldn't air. At the same time, the financial fallout was real. Disney stock dipped as hashtags like Boycott Disney and Cancel Kimmel trended across social media. Fans threatened to cancel their Disney Plus subscriptions. Politicians weighed in, and suddenly a late-night joke spiraled into a national conversation about free speech, corporate responsibility, and political pressure. Then came the political storm. Former President Donald Trump seized the opportunity, calling Kimmel sick and demanding ABC pull the plug permanently. On Truth Social, Trump raged that if ABC reinstated Kimmel, they would be tested like never before. On the other side, a coalition of over 400 entertainers organized through the ACLU signed a letter defending Kimmel and condemning corporate censorship. Former President Barack Obama even stepped in, warning that silencing voices, even offensive ones, sets a dangerous precedent for democracy. Meanwhile, the FCC entered the fray. Chair Brendan Carr openly criticized Kimmel's remarks and hinted that ABC's broadcasting licenses could be at risk if the network didn't act. For many, that wasn't just criticism, it was intimidation. Late-night hosts across the industry, from Stephen Colbert to Jon Stewart to Jimmy Fallon, rallied in support of Kimmel. Seth Meyers declared on his show, "If Jimmy goes, we all go," underlining how much was at stake for comedy and commentary in America. All of this built the stage for Kimmel's emotional return. On September 23rd, the cameras rolled again. He walked onto the stage, overwhelmed by the chants, visibly holding back tears. His opening line set the tone, sharp, unapologetic, but also heartfelt. He quickly addressed the elephant in the room, saying, "It was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it." His voice cracked as he reminded the audience that the very day Kirk was killed, he posted a heartfelt Instagram message sending love and compassion to the family. But he also stood firm, insisting he would not apologize for criticizing the environment of extremism that can lead to such acts. What struck viewers most was his balance of vulnerability and defiance. At times, he was in tears. At other moments, he was fiery, accusing those who pressured ABC and the FCC of trying to silence him, saying, "What's un-American is censorship. What's un-American is telling comedians what they can and cannot say." He added, "This show is not important. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this." That line drew another standing ovation. He took time to thank his allies, naming fellow hosts Stephen Colbert, Jon Stewart, Jimmy Fallon, and Seth Meyers for standing with him. And he surprised many by thanking Republican Senators Mitch McConnell, Rand Paul, and Ted Cruz for supporting his right to speak, even if they disagreed with him politically. It was a moment of rare bipartisan acknowledgement, and it underlined how wide the stakes had grown. Then came the fire. Kimmel turned his attention directly to Donald Trump, accusing the former president of trying to cancel him, declaring, "He tried his best to cancel me. Instead, he forced millions of people to watch this show." That backfired bigly. The audience erupted in laughter and applause. He didn't stop there. In a comic twist, Robert De Niro even made a surprise cameo during the episode, mocking the FCC chair and parodying the entire censorship saga, giving the night a mix of seriousness and levity that late-night television thrives on. Perhaps the most touching moment came not from Kimmel himself, but from his longtime sidekick, Guillermo. Earlier that day, Guillermo had posted a photo hugging Kimmel with the caption, "We are back, full of love." During the show, Guillermo's presence on stage brought a lightness and warmth, reminding viewers that this wasn't just a political moment, it was a reunion of friends, of entertainers, and of a team that had been through the fire together. But beyond the laughs, the tears, and the applause, Kimmel's return marked something bigger. It was a showdown between media and politics, between censorship and comedy, between corporate caution and artistic freedom. It highlighted just how fragile the line has become in American culture, where one misinterpreted remark can spark a week-long crisis, and where entertainers find themselves on the front lines of political wars. In the end, Kimmel's emotional return wasn't just about him. It was about the broader question. Do we still allow comedians to challenge, provoke, and even offend, or do we silence them when the backlash grows too loud? Kimmel stood on stage and made his answer clear. He will not be silenced. And so the story continues. Will affiliate stations hold out against airing his show? Will the FCC keep applying pressure? Will Disney face more fallout? Or will viewers rally behind Kimmel stronger than ever? One thing is certain. This late-night host, after 2 decades in television, has now become a symbol in a much larger cultural battle. So what do you think? Was Jimmy Kimmel right to stand his ground, or should ABC have taken tougher action? Whatever your opinion, this comeback is already one of the most significant moments in late-night history, and the ripples are only beginning.